Hey there, lovely people. So, earlier I was thinking about something. This is regarding. Well, I'll just give you some context first. So, a few years ago, I was a Linux user in terms of OS, yeah. So, and recently I had to switch back to Windows for the sake of. I lost my laptop and my office gave me one and it had Windows, and so I was using Windows. It was a miserable experience. And a few days ago, or rather a week ago, I asked my sysadmin. I don't know if I can call him that. I'm not really sure what his position is, but he just manages all the hardware. So I asked him if I could install Linux on my system, and he said sure. So I got it. I have Linux on this laptop now. I'm recording from a laptop, by the way, if that wasn't clear by the video quality and the audio quality. But yeah, so since I got it, I was kind of using the default experience, and not even few days ago, just yesterday, I started configuring it. So I'm not really sure how many of you guys are going to be interested in the programming and Linux as a whole, but if you are, well, I was using i3, and by default its status bar is kind of ugly. It's really small and it's kind of hard to see, so I just decided to switch it to a different status bar and got a way bar. I think it's polybar. Yeah, it's polybar. So I got a polybar instead, and once I did that, I started configuring other things. I configured my wallpaper, a lot of different things, and started to make it look all pretty and nice. And while I was doing that, I noticed a few things regarding the customizability of everything. So this is the funny thing. Usually I would really like the customizability option for everything, right? So the more customizable things are, the better they are. That is also one reason why I really like Linux as a whole. But since I've been reading this book, Meditations, my mentality has kind of shifted a bit. And the question now I arrive at is the amount of customizability we do in Linux, or in generally. Well, I'm using the Arch Linux, so customizability is kind of main thing there. So the amount of customizability we do, what does it really tell about us? As in, the smallest difficulty that we may have, smallest thing that we may not like, we replace that with something we do want. We want everything to look picture perfect. Everything that could be done with 3 keystrokes will be reduced down to 1, just so we feel more productive and we want it to look and feel better. So what does it tell us, say about us? And more importantly, how does it transfer to our day-to-day life? I'm not really something who knows too much about philosophy. I just got into it, as you might have expected from looking at this book. But yeah, so the idea I had today was this. In the last video that I did, I was talking about the first paragraph of book 1, which is about how you should not be angry at other people, and I tried to implement it a lot in my daily life. Like, you should not be angry at other people. You should not judge them for their action, because they don't know what is good and evil. They're just doing what at that moment feels good to them. They're not trying to be purposefully be evil. They're just trying to do what suits them at that moment. However, you should not follow them, because you have considered what is good and evil, and you should always follow the path of good. So that is what I was trying to do. And if you want to learn more about it, you should watch the previous video. The second video is regarding the one that I'm doing right now, will be regarding this section, the second paragraph of the same book, book 2. And there is so in this I won't read it line to line like I did with this previous part. So in this section, the writer talks about how the whole of human body can be divided into three distinct parts: the flesh, the mind, the flesh, the breath, and the ruling part. So yeah, flesh, breath, and ruling part. Flesh is everything that is physical, right? So your body, your bones, your uh, veins and arteries and everything, that would be flesh. Breath, as in, is air, your life. So, and third is the ruling part, the mind, the soul, and the God, whatever you might call it. In this section, the writer shows a bit of contempt for the flesh and the breath, as in, flesh is corruptible. It will corrupt over time. The body you had 10 years ago will be better than the body you will have 10 years later. So the more older that I get, the more corrupted my body becomes and the worse it gets. And breath too will always be changing. It is just air. So, and we are constantly inhaling and exhaling, and the breath never stays same. What stays constant is the ruling part, or rather it should. So ruling part is the way you govern your life and everything. And the writer points out that you should not let your impulses drag you from one moment. You should not let your impulses control your ruling part. That is something I was thinking about early in the morning. By the way, I finished chapter 3, book 3 as well, and I will be making video regarding it soon, hopefully. But even if I don't, and if we go at the slow pace, that's fine. So, just focusing on this right now. The ruling part is kind of complex. It's kind of a little bit of it needs a bit of thought, right? So anything you can think or you can control, or that controls your action and philosophy and the way you live your life, is the ruling part. So I'm picking this thermos cap, this cap for thermos bottle, I don't know what to call it. That is because my ruling part commanded me to do so. So that would be my ruling part. I sit down to study. I'm studying this book every day because that is what my ruling part commands me to do so. Okay, so I hope you got the idea about the ruling part. The writer talks about not letting your impulses control your ruling part. What he means by that, what I got from it, was regarding how we have impulses or action to do certain things. For example, I might get an impulse to make coffee right now, and if I pause this video and immediately start making coffee, that is me giving up to my impulses for my ruling part because I want to make this video. That is what my mind is telling me, but I'm just giving it to my impulses. In the same manner, if I don't work, so I have job, and if I don't work on the job and instead just start scrolling on my phone, that is me giving it to my impulses. Impulses aren't always bad though. You have to understand that thing. Early in the morning, I get an impulse to drink coffee. That would help me throughout the day, and so my ruling part and my impulses are working together in that case. However, the moment it starts to control my ruling part, it gets dangerous. And the writer also talks about impulses not only as impulses but as selfish impulses. Impulses that only help you and not for the whole of humanity or other people as well. So, the thing about impulses is the way that we differ from the way that we don't usually think is the thirst for knowledge is an impulse. I want to read this book and it started as an impulse. I went to a shop and I went to buy this book without giving it much thought. I did not wake up one morning and decide I want to read the book. I instead went to the shop, saw this book, thought I wanted to buy it, and came home, started this video. I started read a certain portion of it, and felt like, damn, this book is good, and I want to make a video about it. So that is how the channel started. All of those books, and you can watch them in the video why this channel, or what is this channel, the second video in this channel. And if you watch that video, you wouldn't know about the other books and what kind of impulse they are. Those two are impulses. So what you should pay attention to is not letting impulses govern or drag your ruling part. Your ruling part should always be in the center of everything. So that brings me back to my earlier question at the first of this video, when I asked about customizability. What is governing my action? My impulses or the ruling part? Originally, this video was going to come yesterday. I made a separate recording of it, and unfortunately the video had to be divided into two different parts. So I had to open up a video recorder, a video editor, and edit the video. While I was doing so, because I said this is Linux, I couldn't really rely on the traditional Adobe product, and instead had to look up some other alternatives. As I was doing so, I found about a few different products as Kdenlive and FFmpeg. So those who know what it is, you're quite snickering right now, and those who don't, FFmpeg is an open source software package library, whatever you might call it, and it's extremely lightweight, and it kind of does everything as a code, and nearly about everything that you might use related to video comes from FFmpeg, or at least uses it in some way or another. So I thought, why not learn it? It might be good. And so I fell down the rabbit hole regarding FFmpeg, and I downloaded it. I watched a few videos regarding it, and I tried to use it, and I did not finish making the video yesterday. So here's the thing. My ruling part told me to make a video a day. My impulses told me to watch one more video regarding FFmpeg so I could learn it and then edit the video with FFmpeg instead of using just a simple editing software, because I'm a programmer and that boosts my ego. Did my ruling part and my impulses work together, or did they oppose each other? Well, obviously they oppose each other, because that is why I don't really have a video about yesterday. So this is something you have to think a lot about. Like every action that you might do, does it work with your ruling part or does it oppose it? I like to spend money. Not a lot, but I'm not really that controlling or rather that frugal in terms of money. I should be, considering my financial situation, but I'm not. This is a sad thing. So I decided to limit my monthly quota of money, how much I can spend, to certain amount, and I went over it within 2 days, or either like three or 4 days. So that was my monthly quota, and I've already blown it in less than a week. So my impulse is telling me to get more money because I want to spend it, but my ruling parts tell me to not do so, because that is the rule that I set for myself. That is, so I will have to suffer for a week, month. So yeah, you have to think about this regarding how you deal with your ruling part and impulses. Even something as benign as a knowledge itself can be an impulse. So this all channel started with this all idea started because of an impulse. Fortunately, in this case, my impulse and my ruling part are working together. I had not set a monthly limit for myself, and I am continuing with my impulse to read this with my ruling part, which makes me want to, which forces me to make a video regarding this each day. So now they're working together. So this is what something you have to think about it. Like we usually say, I don't have discipline and I don't want to do something. Why? What is at fault there? Your ruling part or the impulse? uh, I also say this a lot that I can't exercise. I can't really exercise. That is not something I do. That is not something I usually partake in. So is that my ruling part telling me, or is that my impulse? Who is governing who? When I start to exercise, my impulses tell me, you don't really have to do it, you know. You can just sit down and chill. Wouldn't that be nice? What does my ruling part tell me? You have to work. Who do I give in to? My impulses. So another thing is, it doesn't really say this in this book, but I've noticed whatever you do most, whatever you do most of the time, gets more power. So if you often indulge in your if you often indulge in your impulses, you'll find that your impulses are getting stronger. And the more you suppress your ruling part, the weaker it becomes. Are you getting my point or not? So if I don't exercise for 2 or 3 days, my ruling part is really weak because my impulse is pushing down on it. And after that, I quit working out. So this is why I'm forcing myself to let my ruling part guide me. And that is why I'm forcing myself to make a video every day, even though I failed yesterday. So by the way, my impulse told me not to make a video today either. It told me to either learn FFmpeg, make a video by every other day, as because I failed yesterday. Make a video, a very good video with really good editing weekly, which is a good thing, by the way. It is a good thing. Impulses do not automatically mean they are bad. They just mean they are in control. You did not have them. You did not consciously have them. You just happen to have them. That is what impulse mean. It does not mean they are bad. So my impulse to make a really good video, I wanted to do that. So my impulse to make a really good video weekly is a good option. However, I know myself. I know the version of me that is me at this moment. That is really a good line. I know the version of me at this point. I know a version of me that is me at this point. Yeah, that is something I was thinking about also. That thought, as I was reading this book, I started chapter 4 today. As I was reading this book, I stopped at a point and I started to think about everything in my life. And that too is an impulse. You have to be really careful about what impulses are and what is your ruling part. So, yeah. So, I'm going back to going back to the thing about making videos. I told myself that no, if I tell myself I'll make one really good video weekly, I won't really do it. I will instead struggle with procrastination and will just indulge in my impulses and not make a video. So that is why I have to force myself to, even though these videos aren't really good, I know that they're really bad in the qualities. And my friend yesterday pointed out that they're also kind of hard to hear, which I will have to look into. But my impulse told me to not make video until I get a mic. So until I get a microphone, my impulse told me to not make a video. Why should I make it? No one's going to watch it. But that is not my but that my ruling part prevented me from going down that route. It told me we can get a mic in future date. We should continuously keep making videos because that is one of the ways through which we motivate ourselves to read this. So yeah, you should be really careful about what are your impulses and what is your ruling part and how you think about it, because these things seem really simple and benign, but we don't really think about it. And as I said, what you usually do will get more power. So if you usually just indulge your impulses will get stronger, and your ruling part will get weaker. And from my experience, or what I what I've noticed so far, ruling part becoming weaker isn't really a very good thing. So yeah, um, that is it for the today's video. If you guys have any thought about what I should do or change about this topic, or if you have any other counter opinion to my thoughts, or felt like I should have added something more, do point it out in the comments, and we can have a lovely chat about it. If I feel like, yeah, that was a really bad thing that I missed, I can add it on the next video. So yeah, see you guys, bye. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you like this video and want to continue with me, because we go through each of the section every day and we talk about them deeply on how you can interact with these things. So this section that we just talked about was 12 line. This entire section that we just talked about regarding your ruling part and your body and mind and impulses is just 12 lines long. But these topics are really something you should think a lot about, and it's kind of hard to do so when you're just reading. And not to mention, the book in general kind of uses a bit of hard languages. It's not really, the concepts aren't really that hard, but the language sometimes seems to be. So if you want to stick with me and read with me together every single day, then subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.